Hi, I'm Lynn Fishman, coming to you from the 39th Annual International Conference here in Montreal, bringing you the latest in health, wellness, personal development, and spirituality. I have with me Mikel Lizarralde. He's a professional, international medium who lives in Spain. He founded his own school for mediumship and psychic development that runs 2 to 3 years. He is a favorite guest of radio and television and is actually a guest on a weekly radio show with an audience of over 300,000. What a resume for such a young man.
Well, thank you. Yes, actually I get that asked a lot. It's true, I am young. I'm 36 now, but I also started very young. I started like at the age of 14, around the year 1992. To be honest, I've always been very sensitive. I've always had experiences, visions, dreams that came true, smells. I would have liked like some people's energy, or I had like colors around people so I would know their mood, or but I didn't I wasn't aware, I didn't realize that the people, the world didn't see like I did. So it was at the age of 14 that I learned about Spanish playing cards, how to play them. But because they can really speak only in black and white, I saw some very serious stuff. Probably because I was also getting it from the people's psychic energy field, I guess. Mm-hmm. And after saying like a few very traumatic things to family, to relatives, then I decided to go on and I took tarot. I started learning about tarot when I was 16, and then never stopped. Like I included that in my life, and that became part of who I am, and then it became my professional trade.
For someone in our audience who perhaps is interested in mediumship, what would you recommend for them?
Well, I would recommend for them to be sure that it's coming from their best of the best of the best of their good-heartedness, that it's in their depths of their heart, and it has nothing to do like with the ego, has nothing to do like to have power over other people, because if the case is so, then it'll never work. For mediumship to be able to work, it has to be for the good of spirit, for the good of the people in front of you, to honor the people in front of you, and for your best of your intentions. And that's the only way, and that can really work. And it's not easy though. You have to do a lot of grounding. You have to keep your own daily issues and daily moods out, because some people mix up their own emotions, and we're only human, right?
Yeah.
So we can get caught up in our emotions. So it's important to have training and to do grounding, and meditation is okay, but also proper food, proper sleep, grounding, connecting to Mother Earth, and never loosen this, because this is a very important tool. And never give up your own personal power. Do not ever give your own personal power to anybody else, no matter who this person is. Always have a very critical mind. Mm-hmm. And just a pure heart, and work toward it. Like everything, like when we want to go to the gym, or we want to take piano lessons, or we want to sing, we have to have the gifts. Some people have it more naturally and they're just born with it. Some people need more classes, but we all need the structure. We can't simply just hop on a theater stage and just play. Right. We need to have the proper training, and that will enhance and empower our own gifts. And with the mediumship and their inner gifts, it's the same.
And let me ask you a question. For those of us who are just interested in enhancing our intuition so it becomes more evident in our everyday life, what would you recommend?
Well, I would recommend, there are many little exercises that we can do, like visualization, for instance, like trying to visualize what's in a room with your eyes closed. First you do it with the room that you know, and in complete darkness, and then you ask friends or relatives like to have objects moved around or new objects added to the scenery while your eyes are closed, and you have to guess where in the room was something changed and what is said that was changed. Or maybe get a color or something like that. And slowly you add on more difficulties, and you eventually do it with places that are not known to you. There are many exercises you can do, especially to do with visualization. Also, like meditating, just focusing on a symbol. Like it can be a yin yang, it can be a frame, it could be anything. Just focusing, bringing your attention to that one symbol all the time.
What does that do?
That enhances your third eye, your psychic abilities, your capacity to focus, and your capacity to grasp into the psychic energy and forget about the rest. We're also, what we're doing with this, we're also taming the rational mind, because the rational mind will always interfere, will tell you you have no right, you're making a doofus of you or whatever, and they will make you that you're just being ridiculous. So you will have your own plots, your own sabotage as well. So that little voice, very inwardly, very subtle, very quietly, that's the intuition. And once we pay attention to it, then it becomes stronger, and eventually you just know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good
but
tips.
it's a lot of practice and a lot to do with visualization with your eyes closed. That will help. And definitely meditation and trying to focus, like on one corner, on one, like on specific points on a wall, for example.
I do
There are
find,
many of them.
yes, I do find getting into a little stillness and silence every day really makes a difference.
Oh yeah, of course. You need to be aware that we're in a very outwardly world nowadays, and we're always with the cell phones, with the music, with the TV, with the radio. We're in everybody else's lives but ours, and it's important to just, especially before you go to bed, it's important to just allow yourself the quietness, and if it's in nature, even the better. Just to sit quietly, or to read, or to, you know what, for me, what helps me a lot lately, I only started doing this lately, is to draw mandalas and to paint mandalas just before I go to bed. So the last hour before I go to sleep, I draw mandalas and I paint and I play with different colors, and it's really soothing.
Wow. And no, obviously no computer, no phone, no nothing. Yeah, that's bad.
Especially before you go to bed, you try to avoid TV and computer and things like that. And above everything, violence or very noisy, very hectic movies or films where there are a lot of action imagery.
Yes.
Or like sounds and bombings and non-stop stimulus. You try to avoid and run away from that.
As a matter of fact, we have a number of questions that our online audience has sent in for Mikel, and he's agreed to answer them. So we're going to ask a few of them now. Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Okay, Teresa Larson says, how do you know that you are connected to spirit? What gives you the knowing? Do you see, hear, or do you just know it?
Oh, that's very interesting. Well, to me, like everybody, we're all different, right? To me, I usually see, and then I either see the spirit, and then I see something else next to the spirit. Like I see dates, or names, or letters, or names of places that they belong to, or countries that they were related to, and often I hear at the same time. I sometimes hear their mother tongue, their language, or I hear my breath, or I hear
You
a
hear
heartbeat.
your breath? What do you mean?
No, I hear the deceased breath, so I know how they passed. If this was a very calm disease, or it was a very harsh, complicated, difficult death, and I usually get also a feeling. So really, for you to be able to discern a spirit from living, or imagination from a spirit, is your feeling. You feel it in your body. You might feel the cause of death on yourself, as if though you were suffering from it at that same moment. You might also feel the emotions that the spirit is coming with, the feelings that the spirit wants to pass on to his family, to his loved ones. And you also feel like inside of you, like in your gut, in your stomach, you feel a tingling and a very different feel. And it's as if, you know, you were like up and down in a roller coaster and you have that feeling inside. On top of this, your breath might change, the rhythm of your breath, and your heartbeat might change, and you might get shivers. So your body speaks. When it's imagination, your body is not as
vocal.
It's more quiet. You don't feel it physically and emotionally within you. You know, spirit always comes with emotions. So to Teresa, it's never the same. I always see and I often hear, but it's different in every case. Like you get different stimulus in every case.
Okay. Katie Dennington says, what is the biggest lesson you have learned over the last 20 years?
Wow, this is a very interesting one, but speaking of my own personal life, my own personal family members, my biggest lesson is that we cannot really help that person that does not want to be helped. We cannot really help someone that is not ready to receive that help. Even if we think that they need our help, they might not be willing, they might not be at that stage yet. And I've seen quite a few members of my family crew that they haven't acknowledged that disease, or they haven't reacted upon a difficulty when I thought it was the moment for them to react. So then they kind of gave up their own power. That's why I insist they never give up your own power, and they kind of let other people decide that they were going to die, and they didn't take responsibility and act upon it, so they passed away. Sometimes I say, and you hear me say, it's not your destiny, but if you don't do this, or unless you do this, this and this and that will happen. That's because we're given the opportunity, like, to lift ourselves up and carry on and make a difference, but we don't take that opportunity. We kind of let the train go, and it's hard, and I have it in my home, as I said, with a few relatives, and I tell everyone, we can teach them how to swim, but they have to be the ones moving their arms. We can't make them. So sad as it might seem, we all have free will, and we have to respect that.
That's a biggie.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest lessons. Yeah.
Okay, Erin Lofstrand says here, have things changed over the 20 years that you have been doing this, and in what ways? Have they been beneficial, and has it changed your perspective on life?
Well, my perspective of life, it did change in a way, but it reaffirmed many things that I know. Then again, I went from like 16 to 36, which is a big difference. So my beliefs weren't changing, but it gave me a more awareness and a certainty of my beliefs, and that this is the path, and this is not wrong, and that this is of God and of love, and that is good, that it can be of help to other people. I forgot the first part, sorry.
Okay.
I forgot.
But you answered it. You kind of answered it. I think you. It says here. How have things changed? You said because things changed because you.
I've grown,
20 years.
so I've changed, but also because I learned. At first, when I would do tarot, and I would rely more on cards, and then slowly I started like seeing more and having more feelings, and I let the cards out eventually. I don't touch them anymore. And when I did mediumship at first, like I had to do it standing in such a way, and I was getting very hectic, and I was always getting very, very, very cold. And in time, I learned to control it, especially after taking a few courses in the United Kingdom. I learned how to control that and not and allow that to come, allow spirit to come close, but not so close. So I still had power over my own energy field. You know what I mean? But it was never invasive or anything like that.
But you mean to say that physically, could you take in the energy and not let it go? Like you could get nervous?
No. What I mean is that because the spirit's energy was so huge and I wasn't accustomed to it, that had a reaction on me. Like I was freezing, like I would have like 5 coats on top of me and next of the heater, and I'm still cold.
Wow.
It took a while, a few hours. So eventually I learned how to deal with that better, and I had more control over the effect that that type of energy would have on me.
And you recognized it.
Yeah. So when you recognize it, you kind of start a dialogue, so you're able to allow it close, but not too close, so it doesn't take over your own personal energy.
That's important.
But not invasive, not like... sometimes, you know, there's many misconceptions, and I believe there's another question related to that as well.
Maureen Bandis asks this question. Of all the spirits you have connected with over the last 20 years, which one stands out the most and why?
Wow, that's a big one. I would speak about 2. One of them is my brother, my eldest brother, Jose Ramon, who passed away at the age of 42. Like that. Went to heaven in his sleep. Christmas Eve 2007. And he was a very fussy driver, very good at driving and respecting the rules and everything. And I'm not such a good driver. So I see him and I sense his presence a lot in my car when I'm driving. Even my mom asks him to just get in charge of the steering wheel when they're in any car. But he's told me like where a police patrol will be, or where like black guys would be on the road so I can avoid it, or things like that, you know. So it was very helpful. But the most maybe is Mother Teresa, because sometimes I didn't like see her often, but whenever I saw her presence behind somebody, I knew that that person she was referring to was really sick, really ill, but that she was also working on a miracle, and that that person will be completely healed. And it happened like this. So yes.
Wonderful.